October 14th, 1996, Monday afternoon. Bad Boy Records, 7th floor conference room. The big room with the wraparound windows and the view of Midtown Manhattan that makes you feel like you own the city. The table is long, glass, expensive, seats 12 comfortably. Today it seats 8. Sean Combs at the head, creative director, A&R team, marketing, 3 producers, and at the far end, the notorious Biggie, 370 pounds of the biggest star in hip-hop. The man who made Ready to Die the most critically acclaimed debut in rap history. The man who's about to follow it up with something nobody's expecting. A double album, 2 discs, 24 tracks. The ambitious statement, the magnum opus, the proof that Ready to Die wasn't a fluke. But today isn't about the music. The music is done, or mostly done, still mixing, still tweaking. But the bones are there. The vision is clear. Today is about something equally important. Something that will define how the world receives this work. Today is about the name, the title, the words that will appear on the cover, the phrase that will be spoken every time someone talks about this album, the name that will live forever. Puffy's excited. You can see it in his body language, in the way he's moving his hands, in the energy coming off him in waves. This is what he lives for. The branding, the marketing, the moment when art becomes commerce, when music becomes product, when vision becomes empire. He's good at this part, maybe better at this than anyone in the industry. He knows how to sell, knows how to position, knows how to turn a good album into a cultural event. All right. Let's go through the list. Puffy nods to the creative director. Woman in her 30s. Sharp, smart, been in the room when classics got named. Knows what works, what sticks, what sells. She opens a folder. Inside, 15 potential titles. 15 different ways to define what this album is, what it means, what it's trying to say. First option, King of New York. She says it clearly, lets it hang in the air, waits for reaction. The marketing guy nods. Strong, direct, positions big as the king. Answers the West Coast, makes a statement. One of the producers agrees. It's aggressive. I like it. Shows confidence. Biggie sits at the end of the table. Hasn't said anything yet, just listening. His face is neutral, not positive, not negative, just present, taking it in, processing. He picks up a bottle of water, takes a sip, still doesn't speak. Second option, the commission. Creative director moves down the list. Plays on the mafia themes, the organized crime aesthetic we've been building. It's mysterious, powerful. The A&R guy likes this one. Yeah, that works. Continues the narrative from Ready to Die. Shows evolution. Puffy's nodding, considering it. Commission is cool. It's different. Nobody's used that for an album. Biggie sits down the water bottle, still silent, still watching. His fingers tap the table. Slow rhythm, not nervous, just thinking. Working something out internally that nobody else can access. Third option, Brooklyn's finest. The list continues. Hometown pride, pays respect to where he came from, appeals to the core fan base. Marketing likes this. Brooklyn is strong. It's authentic. It's real. One of the producers. Plus we got that track with Jay, Brooklyn's finest featuring Jay-Z. It ties together. Biggie shifts in his chair. The leather creaks under his weight. Everyone glances at him, waiting for input, waiting for reaction. But he doesn't give them anything. Just keeps listening, keeps processing. The creative director continues. Fourth, more money, more problems. Fifth, hypnotize. Sixth, going back to Cali. She's reading faster now, getting through the list. Each title gets brief discussion, brief consideration, brief analysis of what it communicates, what it sells, how it positions. But nothing's landing. Nothing's clicking. You can feel it in the room. These are good titles, professional titles, marketable titles, but they're missing something. Missing that spark, that perfect alignment of art and commerce. That moment when a name feels inevitable. By the time they reach option 15, the room is getting restless. Puffy's leaning back in his chair, thinking, these are all good, all solid, but nothing's jumping out. Nothing's grabbing me. He looks at Biggie. Big, what do you think? You've been quiet. Any of these hitting for you? Biggie looks at Puffy. Long moment. Then he speaks. First words he's said in 45 minutes. None of them. His voice is calm, definitive, not dismissive, not angry, just clear, certain. None of them are right. The room goes quiet. The creative director closes her folder. Okay, what direction do you want to go? What feels right to you? Give us something to work with. She's professional, patient, used to artists having opinions, used to the collaborative process. This is normal. This is how it works? Biggie doesn't answer immediately. He looks out the window, at the city, at the buildings, at the world that's about to receive this album. His fingers stop tapping. His breathing is visible, slow, controlled, like he's preparing to say something important, something that's been forming for months, maybe longer. Then he looks back at the room, makes eye contact with Puffy, and says it. Life after death. 4 syllables, 3 words. Absolute silence. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. The phrase just sits there in the middle of the conference room, like a physical object, heavy, dark, undeniable. Puffy's face changes, goes from open and receptive to concerned, to worried. He leans forward. Life after death. He repeats it, testing it, hearing how it sounds. That's, he pauses, choosing words carefully. That's dark, Big. That's really dark. That's the point. Biggie's response is immediate. No hesitation. No doubt. Like he's been thinking about this for so long that all the questions have already been answered. All the objections already considered and dismissed. The marketing guy speaks up. Careful. Diplomatic. It's definitely memorable, but it might scare people. Might make them think you're, I don't know, done? Like you're ending things? He's trying to be gentle. Trying to steer without offending. We want people thinking about life, about success, about winning. Death is real. Biggie cuts him off. Not aggressive, just factual. Death is what comes after all this. After the money. After the fame. After everything we're building. It's the truth everybody's avoiding. I'm not avoiding it. This album is about what comes after. After Ready to Die. After you make it. After you get everything you wanted. What's next? What happens after? Puffy's rubbing his face. Thinking. Calculating. He's a businessman. Knows you don't put death in the title of a commercial product. Knows you don't lead with darkness when you're trying to sell millions of records. Knows this is a marketing nightmare. But he also knows Biggie. Knows when he's decided something. Knows that tone. That certainty. Still, he has to try. Big, I hear you. I get the concept. Life after death. What comes next? It's deep. It's meaningful. But commercially. He trails off. Looks to the marketing guy for support. The marketing guy jumps in. We're going to have a hard time getting radio to support an album called Life After Death. Program directors are going to see that title and worry about the optics. Especially with everything going on with Tupac. With the East Coast West Coast situation. It's going to raise questions we don't want to answer. I don't care about their questions. Biggie's voice is still calm, still steady, but there's something underneath now. Something final. This is my album, my vision, my statement, and that's the name. Life After Death, period. The creative director tries a different approach. What if we workshopped it? Took the concept, but refine the execution? Something like After the Fall? Or Beyond Ready? Something that captures the idea but feels less terminal? She's good at this. Good at finding compromise. Good at giving artists what they want while protecting commercial viability. Biggie looks at her. You want to water it down. Make it safe. Make it something that doesn't offend anybody. Something that sells to suburban kids without making them uncomfortable. He's not asking. He's stating. That's not what this album is. This album is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. It's about looking at death directly. Acknowledging it. Not running from it. Not hiding from it. Accepting it. Puffy stands up. Walks to the window. Looks out at the city. He's trying to find the right words. The right approach. How do you tell your biggest artist that he's making a mistake? That he's sabotaging his own success? That he's choosing a title that will haunt everyone who hears it? He turns back to the room. Big, I love you. You know that. You're my brother. And I support your vision. Always have. Always will. But I'm asking you, as your friend, as your partner, think about this. Really think about it. Life After Death. On a double album. Your follow-up to Ready to Die. The pattern is death, death, death. We're creating a narrative that ends badly. We're manifesting something dark. Can we at least consider alternatives? Biggie stands up. Slow. The chair scrapes. He walks to the window. Stands next to Puffy. Both of them looking out at Manhattan. The city that made them. The city that's watching. Waiting. Expecting. After a long moment, Biggie speaks. Quiet. Just loud enough for Puffy to hear. But the room is so silent that everyone hears anyway. I already know how this ends, Puff. The album name doesn't manifest it. It just acknowledges it. And I'd rather acknowledge the truth than pretend. I'm not making a happy album. I'm making an honest one. And the honest truth is that after you die on your first album, you spend your second album living with what comes after. Life after death. That's the whole concept. That's why it's a double album. Disc 1 is life. Disc 2 is after. You can't have one without the other. Puffy doesn't have a response. What do you say to that? How do you argue with someone who's thought it through that completely? Who's built the entire architecture of the album around a concept you wish didn't exist? The creative director clears her throat. Should we schedule another meeting? Give everyone time to think? Bring some new options? No. Biggie turns from the window, looks at the room, at the 8 people whose job is to make this album successful, whose careers depend on this working. No more meetings about the name. Life after death. That's final. If you don't like it, I understand. But that's what it's called. We can argue about the cover, about the track order, about the singles, but the name is done. The meeting ends. Awkward, uncomfortable. People file out talking in low voices, concerned voices. This isn't how it's supposed to go. Artists are supposed to collaborate, take input, find consensus, not dictate, not override professional advice. But Biggie isn't most artists, and Life After Death isn't most albums. For the next 2 weeks, Puffy tries, brings it up casually, during studio sessions, during business dinners, during car rides. You sure about the title, Big? Still feeling Life After Death? Because I've been thinking and maybe we could. But every time, Biggie shuts it down, gently, firmly. The name stays. Puff, stop trying. Eventually, Puffy gives up, accepts it, starts figuring out how to market an album called Life After Death, starts building the narrative, starts spinning the darkness into something commercial. The album cover gets shot in November. Biggie standing next to a hearse, black suit, black car, black everything. The imagery matches the title, Death Everywhere, but artistic, stylized, the kind of darkness that sells, that becomes iconic, that makes people uncomfortable in a way they can't look away from. When Puffy sees the proofs, he knows it's going to work, knows the name is going to work, not despite the darkness. Because of it, because Biggie was right. Honesty sells. Truth resonates. Even when the truth is uncomfortable. March 9th, 1997, Los Angeles, Wilshire Boulevard. Biggie is shot 4 times. Dies at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. 24 years old. The king is dead. The prophecy is complete. Life After Death becomes literal, becomes inevitable, becomes the most darkly accurate album title in hip-hop history. March 25th, 1997, 16 days after Biggie's murder, Life After Death is released, a posthumous double album, the title that Puffy fought against, that the marketing team worried about, that everyone thought was too dark, too risky, too honest. The album debuts at number 1, sells over 10 million copies, becomes one of the greatest hip-hop albums ever made. The title that seemed like a mistake becomes the only possible title. The name that felt like bad luck becomes prophecy. The words that made everyone uncomfortable become the words that defined Biggie's legacy. In interviews afterward, Puffy talks about that meeting, about the moment Biggie said Life After Death, and the room went silent. I tried to change his mind. We all did. We thought he was being morbid, being dark for the sake of being dark. We didn't understand. He knew. He saw something we couldn't see, and he named the album exactly what it needed to be named. Not Life After Ready to Die, not Life After Success, Life After Death, because that's what happened. He died, and then his life continued, through the music, through the impact, through the legacy. He understood that before any of us did, and he made sure the album was honest about it. The creative director, in a podcast 20 years later, remembers it differently. He wasn't being prophetic. He wasn't predicting his death. He was processing his mortality, understanding that fame doesn't make you immortal, that success doesn't protect you, that death comes for everyone. And he wanted to make an album that acknowledged that looked at it directly, that didn't flinch. We wanted him to flinch. We wanted him to soften it, make it more palatable. He refused, and he was right to refuse. Because Life After Death isn't just an album title. It's a thesis statement. It's a worldview. It's the truth that everyone in that conference room was trying to avoid. Death is real. Death is coming. And you can either hide from it or look at it directly. Biggie chose to look at it directly, and he named his masterpiece accordingly. The marketing guy, who's no longer in the music industry, doesn't talk about it publicly, but in private, to friends, he tells the story about being in that room, about hearing those 3 words, about feeling the weight of them. I knew immediately it was the right title, and I knew immediately it was going to haunt us. Both things were true. It was perfect, and it was terrifying, because somewhere, in some part of me, I didn't want to acknowledge. I knew what it meant. I knew what he was saying, not predicting, accepting. He accepted his mortality in a way that 24-year-olds aren't supposed to. And he put it on the album cover, made it the title, made everyone who bought that record confront the same thing he was confronting. That's not marketing. That's not branding. That's something else. Something deeper. Something true. October 14th. 1996, the day Biggie named his second album Life After Death, the day he overrode everyone's objections, the day he insisted on honesty over commerce, the day he looked at his own mortality and decided to name it. 5 months before he died, 16 days before the album proved him right, the moment when an album title became a prophecy, when marketing became truth, when art became life, and then death, and then life after.